Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here. Today we are doing the much anticipated first impression on the brand new Natasha Denona release. Yes, the mini Zendo has arrived and I've been playing with her. I created a few different looks. You guys will see them all in this video. It's a total of 3 different looks and I'm playing with a lot of the colors. I used a good variety of colors in here. I have a pretty good opinion on what I'm thinking so far. And yeah, we're gonna get into everything in this video and I'm gonna be answering some of your questions. I've got a lot of people asking me, is this palette worth the $65? We're gonna run everything down in this video. But before I do that, don't forget to hit subscribe and join the channel. And I can't believe that we're almost at 15,000 subscribers. I'm seriously over the moon about it and I cannot believe it. I know you guys love Natasha Denona as much as I love her, and I think a lot of you guys have been so excited with my one brand, 1 year. I'm purchasing every single new release from Natasha, and yeah, thank you guys so much. But anyways, we've got a lot to run down in this video, so let's not waste too much time and let's get into it right now. All right, so we're gonna do a lot in this video. I have so much. I have comparisons that I want to show you guys. 3 looks I want to show you. I want to swatch this for you guys. So, oh my goodness, there's so much. So this is the $65 US midi Zendo palette. If you guys own the mini Zendo, so this is the big sister to mini Zendo. So this is midi Zendo. This is her middle sized. I mean, I don't know, she has a lot of different sizes now, but this is not the bigger palettes or the extremely big palettes. This is the smaller size, and I really love this size. It's my favorite size from Natasha. I think it's literally phenomenal. But this one was supposed to play off of mini Zendo, so basically it was supposed to be styled around it. I will say straight away, I think that they have similarities, but I do think the concept may have gotten a little bit more towards the elements when it comes to this one. I was reading on her website that this palette was more designed to bring in the elements and to mix the elements like air and water and all that stuff with architecture. I can see that. I think that she did a really nice concept to creation. It does look that way, but like saying that it looks like the big sister, I would say like it has something similar, but not as much as I thought it would. So inside the palette, you're getting 15 shades. It says that it has hues of pink, brown, coral, and peach with pops of turquoise. So inside of the palette, you're getting 8 metallic-y, shimmery shades, and then you're also getting 7 mattes in here. And yes, warm and cool tones. So I think what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in. We're gonna do 3 different eye looks. And then after the eye looks are done, we're gonna get into some swatches. I'm gonna get into some final thoughts and then we'll do some comparisons. All right, so I think what we'll do is a few different looks. I'll do 1 look on this eye, 1 look on this eye, and then we'll do a final look and put everything together. So 3 different eye looks. So what should we do first? I think my final look is going to be green because I really want to jump into these greens over here. I'm very happy that this color right here is actually like a true green. It's not a real blue green. I thought it was going to be more blue, so I'm happy about that. But I think what we're going to do is start off the look is maybe we'll go in this direction. Like I kind of like this quad that we have going right here. Let's use these for the first eye. What I'm going to do is just grab into the darkest color right here, and I'm just gonna put that on the lid. So we'll have 1 eye with 1 look, 1 eye with another look, and then we'll do a full look. So I'm just gonna smoke this all over the lid. This is a really nice matte brown that it feels like a cream when you put it on, but as you blend it out, it starts to turn into like a nice powder. Cream to powder formula, whatever. And wow, that shade worked really good, extremely good. A little bit of like a nice warmer brown that is like mid-tone, very pretty. I'm gonna use this color right here. I'm gonna blend that on the top. To add a little bit more to the look, what I'll do is I'll grab this color with my finger, and then let's just put that all over. That's a really pretty, kind of like, almost looks like a brown with a hint of like burgundy. It's a nice, subtle brown shade, if you guys can see. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of this green and just use it as a deepening shade at the outer edge. The good thing about this green that she included, it could be used really easily as a smoking shade with a lot of the colors that are here. The only ones that I probably wouldn't use with it is the blues. I don't really like blue, but whatever. I think it works as a really good smoking shade. On top of the brown, it almost looks kind of like a brownish gray, so they mix together to create a really pretty color. And then finally, what I'll do just to add a little bit of brightness, and also because I just want to try out the shade, is I'm going to grab this really cool color right here called Luster, and let's just put that in the inner portion just to see. I usually like my fingers with Natasha. Let's see. Yeah, it's like a yellowy gold, a little bit less yellow than I thought, which is good, but it's still on the yellowy side. I don't really love yellowy golds, to be honest, but it looks pretty nice. They're a little bit on the subtle side. Then to blend everything, just grabbing this shade one more time. Nice shade. It is a little on the dusty side, meaning that there's a lot of kickback. It's not really dropping on my lid, but there is kickback on it. And just blending it like so. So there we go. There we have like a nice brown, very pretty lid. On this side, I kind of want to see what I can do with these middle tones right here. So we'll go into like more of like a reddish looking lid, and then we'll play with the greens on the last look. What I'm going to do is grab this right here and just kind of put it on the, ooh, that's a pretty color. Look at that, nice little pinky, peachy tone. Actually, it's more peach than I thought this was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little less peachy. Actually, it has a little bit more of like a coral shade than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little less coral, but that's okay. It's really pretty. Let's blend that. I typically don't like reddish looks, to be honest, but let's try this color called Vigor. I'm very intrigued by how red this is gonna look. Let's just kind of like do like an outer V taper with it. That's pretty. Okay, so let's grab this pinky color. I just kind of want to see what it looks like on. This is actually, it's not pink, it's orange, Christina. This is like an orangey. Very pretty orange. Very subtle, but still a very soft formula, but just not super strong on the impact. That's really pretty. Let me try this little pinky tone just because I kind of want to see what it looks like. I'm just going to kind of blend the two colors in. Ooh, this one has a lot more pigment. This pinky color has a lot more impact than the other one, and it feels softer too. And there we go. So this would be more on the reddish orangey side. Let me put mascara on. I cannot finish a look without mascara. It drives me nuts. Okay, so here we go. Here are two different looks. We've got, looking at the monitor, I'm like, which side is which? Okay, so here we've got our more bronzy look, very similar to like the bronze palette idea. Then over here we have a nice little pinky, more fiery look, more like the sunset palette would probably give you. And yeah, I like both of the looks. I think they're very pretty, very cohesive, and depending on how you use the palette, I think you can do some really pretty looks. And the formula is just a tad different. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but let me get into the greens because I'm really excited to do a green look, which will probably be my final look. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off really quick, and one more look to go. Tried my best to remove the eyeshadow and put a little concealer to cover things up so we could start from scratch again. I think it did okay. But okay, so now we're gonna do a very green look because honestly guys, I'm more excited about the greens in this palette than anything else. I feel like obviously there's some neutrals which are nice, but I want some greens in my life. So I'm gonna use this color right here. What's it called? Breath. And Breath, I'm gonna put, ooh, this is pretty. I'm gonna put this all over the lid. I think this color Breath and Relief together could probably create a really pretty, very soft, springy look. So you guys can probably try that, and I think a lot of you guys would probably actually like it because this color is just really not that much in your face, which could be a good thing going into the spring. I mean, I guess it depends on how you like to wear makeup, but I think that this is a very wearable looking green compared to a lot of the pastel greens that I have seen recently. This one just looks very easy and wearable. It's actually a little bit less, it's a little bit less like in your face than the Circle Loco green was, so that's a good thing. I might put some pink in the inner corner just because I kind of see like that pink popping through and I kind of like the way it looks. You have to build up this color just a little bit just to have the pigment come through on my skin tone. If you're lighter than me, maybe you won't have to do this, but on me, I have a light medium skin tone. I feel like you need to build it up. But once you build it up, it looks very, very pigmented and pretty. So what I want to do now is get that dark hunter green, which I'm dying to put on the outer edge. Ooh, this hunter green, this is life. Wow, oh my goodness, I love this. Natasha, I see retro. This is a color I would want in the midi retro, this color right here. This style, like this is just so stunning. I love this color. So how I'm applying it is I'm just kind of like patting it on and then blending it out. This one is a little bit more of like a creamy. Okay, so we're gonna finish this type of look on this eye. Sorry, I got a phone call and I just kept on working, so I'll show you guys what I did. So let's go ahead and jump into this color right here, and I'm gonna use this as a liner. So what I'm gonna do is put it as close as I can lash line. So this is a pretty color. It's a little bit on the greener, like real green with a little bit of blue. More than I like. So in my opinion, what I would use this for is liners or for smoking looks. I think you could probably create like a really like pretty smoky lid with this too, which maybe I'll try. But it's a little bit too blue. I don't like that they added so much blue to this color. I wish it was just a tad less, but you know what? For this liner, it's actually really pretty. Look how beautifully this formula works. So amazing just for doing like a wing. It's so, I really like Natasha's formula. Even though this one is a little bit more subtle, still like the formula. Okay, so that's my wing. So then what I wanted to do too was add in a little bit of warmth, because you guys were asking me to incorporate a little bit of warm with the cool tones. In my opinion, some of these might be a little harder to do that, but if you add a little bit of this color into the greens, it always looks beautiful. So what I'm going to do is just kind of like put it on the top, use it as my blending shade, just to add a little bit of warmth. So that green shade did give me some fallout, which I'll have to correct with a little bit of concealer, because that is going to show up pretty good. So then now what I'm going to do is take this darker green, the hunter, I'm going to grab the hunter green, and I'm going to put it on the lower lash line, and then I'm going to smoke it out with this warm color called Relief. So this is how I'm incorporating into the warmth, but I don't think that you want to incorporate too much warmth into your cool tone looks, or too much cool tones into your warm tone looks, just because, I don't know, it's just not, it doesn't always look fantastic, and the colors in here don't, to me, in my opinion, look like they would work fantastic together. Making sure it shows up a little bit, because I do want it to be like a nice little accent, but that's all it's going to be used for. And then maybe add a little bit of it into the inner portion of the eye, just because I really like the way the pink looks. So I'm just going to add a little bit here and a little bit on the other side. And I could even top it off. You guys really want to keep on going with a little bit of this color right here, which we already know I really like. So we can add a little bit of metallic in. This part is obviously like optional. If you don't want to keep going, you could stop. And I like this. This is pretty. I'm going to go ahead and put on some mascara, maybe like a nice peachy pink lip, and we'll have this look done. So give me 1 second. Alright guys, and here is the final look, and this is going to be the look for the video. I actually love this look. I think it came out beautiful, and I loved the way that all of these colors played together that I used for this look. I have to say, I really, really love this look. I think it's really, really stunning. So let's get into my final thoughts. So you guys can see the final look that I ended up creating. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I think it's beautiful. Like, I'm going to redo this look a few different ways because I do love the color combinations. But right now I kind of want to swatch the entire palette with you guys so you guys can see all the colors. So we're going to start off with Mindful. So this is a really pretty creamy matte. Ooh. Okay, then let's go into Luster, which is a metallic-y bronze shade. Another really pretty shade. You guys can probably tell already from that swatch that the metallics are not as strong, but we're gonna get into that in a minute. So then let's get into Balance. It's a nice warm blending shade, very pretty. It is different from this one. It's lighter, but they're kind of within like the same color family. Then we can get into Flow. This is like a metallic teal, and you guys will see it right here. Nice metallic teal. These colors would all work pretty nicely together on the top row. And then finally we have Mantra, which is a nice, actually a nice matte green that I thought was going to go a little bit more teal, and I'm happy to say that it didn't go as teal as I thought and actually stayed a little bit more to the greens, which I like. I think it's very pretty. So then if we keep going, we've got the color Aurora, which is a nice pinky peach, which is a really pretty metallic shade. On the brighter side, which is interesting because I don't have many really bright shades from Natasha, so I do like that it's a little bit brighter. Then we've got this color. I don't have anything like this one in my collection. Some people may, if you have like the Sunset palette, something similar to this one. It actually works pretty nice on the lid, doesn't swatch as beautifully, but it's a really, really nice matte reddish tone. Like I said, don't really have too many of those, so it's nice to have. Then we have the color Relief, which is a really pretty coral. So this is more true to coral. I actually thought that this wasn't going to be as coral, and it's more coral than I thought, which is good because I don't have a color like this one. It is different from the color Morgan that's inside of the Sunrise palette. It actually is more coral. Same color family, just more coral. Then we have Equilibrium, which is a really pretty blue. I like this blue, to be honest. Very pretty blue, and I can see myself mixing this with a few of the different shades in here. Just be careful not to mix it probably with some of the reds. Then if we jump into the color Breath, this is another really beautiful tone that I actually really love it. Doesn't swatch as beautifully as it applies on the lid, and you also have to work with this one to kind of make it more pigmented because it is one of those that you have to build up. But once it's built up, it's very, very, very pretty. Then we can go into Sense right here. Also really nice brownish tone, probably the one that looks the most like it was supposed to be inside of Mini Zendo. So that is an inspiration color there, very pretty color. Then if we go into Tranquil right here, this is a really nice pinky peach, very, very pretty as well. Then we can get into Calm, which is a really nice shade. I didn't use it in today's look, but I am kind of excited to use it, especially with the greens. It's a really nice corally, more into the peach side, which I kind of like more orangey. Then we have the color Yama, which I think this is the one with the flip, really cool flip. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera. Hopefully you can, but this one has a really nice flip. It's gonna be really nice to work with the greens with. And yeah, it's really pretty. When you swatch it down, it looks pink. As you move your hand, it actually turns green. And then finally we have the color Zeal, not Seal. And it's a beautiful hunter green, which I'm gonna throw up here on the top because we ran out of space. And it's really, really pretty hunter green that does not swatch as beautifully as it applies, because in my opinion, it applies really, really beautiful. And that was a horrible top swatch. Here are all the colors so you guys can see. Very, very pretty, very different palette. It has a bunch of interesting tones in it, I have to admit. And yeah, that is all of the colors swatched on my arm. Oh my goodness, guys, that's a lot. That's a lot of colors, right? So now that we've swatched it, let's get into some thoughts, because I do have some thoughts on this, and it may be a little different from some of the other reviews you have seen because I have a little bit of a different perspective on it. The metallics in here are not as intense as a lot of her metallics. I want to show you Circo Loco really quick. Somebody might not understand what I mean is when you dip into a color like this blue inside of Circo Loco, the intense pigment that you get off of this and the creaminess is just kind of like insane. You guys can see how much pigment that is, but also the feeling of it is a little different. So if I jump into this color right here, which is very similar to the Circo Loco color, it has a nice pickup. It still is soft, but when you put it on, it's not as intense. It's not as intense and it doesn't spread as easily. When you use some of Natasha Denona's formulas, when it comes to the metallics, they're so soft that when you put them on, it's almost like just a little bit will go a super long way. Like you almost have to be careful because you can actually mess up an eye look because it's so beautiful and creamy that it can actually get into when you're trying to blend out outer edges. So that formula of hers is just astronomical. It's like amazing. The one that she included inside of this palette, I don't think that there is one that kind of reminds me 100% from the swatch. None of them really 100% remind me of this creamy, amazing metallic. Like even this one right up here, like I'll just show you guys. Like it's almost so creamy as you put it on, it almost breaks apart on you. It's like, it's very interesting. Maybe you guys can just tell from these swatches the difference. Now that being said, guys, I have to say in my own personal opinion, I don't mind that the metallics in here are a little bit more subtle. Just my personal opinion. Just because sometimes I don't reach for the metallics that are so pigmented when I'm doing like daily looks. Sometimes I want things that are just metallic-y, but I don't want them to be like, oh my goodness, I look like I need to go out at night. Like I just want something that's gonna look pretty. And I feel like this palette gave me like a really nice, pretty, subtle metallic look that looks nice. There's nothing wrong with this formula. The formula is beautiful. They're a lot better than most metallics. It's just not as amazing as Natasha Denona's metallics are known to be. The mattes in here are really nice. She does have that cream to powder formula in here that is so beautiful and really has gotten really good. Even when she did Metropolis, I didn't like it as much, and this palette, I really feel like it really blends out like a dream. So the mattes in here are extremely good. The metallics are just subtle, but they're still beautiful and they spread really nicely on the lid. I think like this is gonna be a preferential thing. Like, do you want really strong metallics or do you want your metallics to be a little less vibrant? I think it's worth the price tag. However, I do wish she would have just included like maybe 2 of them in here just to kind of like really give like a wow, look at this metallic. But I think it was done on purpose to make this more like a zen, like a calm palette. You know, I think it was done on purpose so it wouldn't be as impactful. We've also seen kind of a trend lately that a lot of the new releases that have been coming out have been including shimmery metallics that are less impactful. It could just be the way people are wearing makeup right now. Maybe people are not thinking so much of doing super glamified looks because they're not going out at night as much as they used to. So this could just be a holdback from Natasha based off of the current environment. I don't know, but yes, the metallics in here are not as impactful as her normal formula. Huda Beauty was also one that her metallics were not as impactful. So there is a trend of that. Now, when it comes to color story, that is another thing. Yes, the color story is not as easy to use. It's not as user-friendly. But this kind of palette, similar to Circo Loco, in my opinion, is a palette that just don't use as many colors together. Like, you don't have to put 7 colors on your lid. If you want to do 7 colors on your lid, this palette will not give that to you. This gives you a nice variation of going warm or going cool. When you start to try to go cool and warm together, that's where it's going to get tricky because some of these cool and warm tones are not as beautiful together. Like, for example, maybe some of these blues should have actually been purples because I think purples would have mixed a little bit better with the warmer tones up here. I personally just don't like the way blues and reds look together. It's just not my kind of eye looks. So I wish that these were more purple or they would have gone more into the greens and maybe continued a green color story. I think that the way that I would use this palette is I would stick with my warm tones, and if I want to include something cool, it would be one color and it would be to smoke out a lower lash line or to add just a pop underneath the eye look. So I'm pleased with the palette because all of the looks I really liked. I will tell you guys, if you guys have the bronze palette or the sunset palette, You may not need this because these colors up here are very reminiscent in my opinion. They're not going to be identical, but they are reminiscent. They're different from Sunrise. Sunrise goes more of like the magenta-y, purpley side, and this goes a little bit more like Sunset, more red. And also if you have the bronze palette, I mean, if you just cover this red right here, it's something similar to that, to be honest. So you may not need this, okay? So the side that's going to be different for you will be this area right here, which are the greens. There's only 3 of them. It's not really like she gave us that much variety with the green. And I don't think there's any Natasha palette that kind of reminds me of this section so much besides Trio Chrome. I think you have 2 of the most important green shades. If you guys see them right here, this beautiful green right here is very similar to the smoke color in here. And then your nice little minty looking green is very similar. So if you have Trio Chrome, so the top one is Trio Chrome, the bottom one is the new palette. They are not exact, but let me tell you, on the lid, that's not gonna make a big difference. And then in Trio Chrome, this is the minty color. And in the new palette, this is the minty color. So yeah, very similar, not identical, but very similar. So yeah, but it's gonna be up to you guys. Like I said, since I don't have Sunset or Bronze, I'm happy to have this one because now I have like those warmer shades in my collection. I do like the palette. I think it's worth the $65. I think she should have included maybe 1 or 2 of those strong metallics just so that it wouldn't feel like we're missing that. I think that we needed that. Now I'm going to show you guys some comparisons because you guys actually asked me. You guys really wanted to see this compared to Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West or Wild West? I don't know. The Urban Decay palette. Let me grab it and let's do some comparisons. First, let's start off with Wild West. On the top, we have the new Natasha Denona palette. On the bottom, we have the Wild West palette from Urban Decay. And there's a similar idea. 2 palettes together, there is a similar idea between the 2, but I will say that color-wise, they're like similar, but they go in different directions. The Natasha Denona one has more pink in it, and it goes in a pinkier direction, whereas the Urban Decay one kind of leans you into a more orangey pale color. All right, and here we have something a little bit more similar. We've got up on the top, here's the new Zendo, and here is Born to Run from Urban Decay. You guys can see these look a little bit more similar. Now we're talking about something that may let you create very similar eye looks. Guys, if you have the Born to Run from Urban Decay, you actually have a little bit more variety than the Natasha Denona one, okay? So if you guys can see right here, this one, the Urban Decay palette is this one right here, and here's Natasha's. What I like about the Urban Decay one is it's taking you on the purple direction, which is actually something that I mentioned, that I wish that this one had a little bit more purple. This gives you that purple option, so it gives you a little bit more variety of looks that you can create with the warm section. The cool section also gives you those blues and everything, but it's a little bit, this palette's a little bit more cohesive. Now this palette has a very similar idea. If you guys can see, I got a lot of the swatches to look pretty close. So if you have the Urban Decay Born to Run, I do not think that the Natasha Denona formula in this palette is so much stronger that you need to buy both of these. But the metallics in here are less impactful, and the Urban Decay ones are actually pretty impactful for Urban Decay. So they might actually even themselves out. If this palette would have had her really crazy strong metallics, I would have definitely said that there's a reason to get this one. But if you have the Urban Decay, I don't think you need this palette because they are very, very similar. So definitely the Born to Run, very, very close dupe, and probably the closest dupe that I was able to find in my collection. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I think I found a dupeable palette. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I tried to include as much as I can. I'm gonna edit this and put this up as fast as I can too. So if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, please leave them down below. I will try to answer as many as I can. Thanks so much for leaving me your comments on what you wanted to know. I hope I answered your questions. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk with you guys later. Bye.